Khalil Gibran and Rumi are both poets and spiritual thinkers, but their poetry and approach to spirituality have some notable differences. One major difference is their cultural and linguistic background. Khalil Gibran was born in Lebanon, and wrote in English and Arabic. His poetry reflects the culture and language of the Middle East, and it is heavily influenced by the Bible and the Quran. The difference is the style of their poetry. Gibran's poetry is known for its poetic language. His poetry is often described as rich, evocative and mystical. Rumi's poetry, on the other hand, is known for its rich and complex imagery, and his poems are often described as mystical and transcendent. Key difference is the focus of their poetry. Gibran's poetry often explores themes of love, beauty, and nature, and it speaks to the human experience. Rumi's poems, on the other hand, often focus on the love between God and the individual soul, and he encourages a personal and direct relationship with the divine. In terms of their impact, Gibran's poetry has been widely read and appreciated in the Western world, and his work is still widely read and studied. Rumi's poetry, on the other hand, is highly regarded in the Persian-speaking world, and his works continue to be widely read and studied in the Islamic world. While both Khalil Gibran and Rumi are poets and spiritual thinkers, they come from different cultural and linguistic backgrounds, have different styles of poetry and convey different messages to their readers. Gibran's poetry is often seen as more contemplative, exploring the human experience, while Rumi's poetry is often seen as more devotional, mystical and focused on the love between God and the individual soul. Another major difference between Khalil Gibran and Rumi is their approach to spirituality. Gibran's spirituality is more humanistic, and his poetry often reflects his belief in the interconnectedness of all things. He emphasizes the importance of self-expression and individual freedom, and encourages people to find their own path to enlightenment. He often speaks of the importance of living in harmony with nature and the natural world. On the other hand, Rumi's approach to spirituality is more mystical and devotional. He emphasizes the importance of surrender and love in the quest for spiritual enlightenment. He encourages people to let go of their ego and to open themselves up to the divine, as well as to follow the guidance of a spiritual master. He often speaks of the importance of reaching a state of union with the divine, and his poetry is filled with imagery and metaphors that reflect this concept. Additionally, Gibran's poetry often explores the human condition and its various aspects such as love, beauty, and nature. His poetry speaks to the reader's emotions and experiences and often encourages them to seek for self-expression and freedom, to live in harmony with nature, and to find the inner light. On the other hand, Rumi's poetry often speaks of the longing and love for the divine, and many of his poems can be understood as a conversation between the soul and God. In terms of their impact, Gibran's poetry is often considered as an important part of Arabic literature, and his works are widely read in the Middle East, as well as in the Western world. His works have been translated in multiple languages and have been widely appreciated for its poetic language, imagery and its humanistic approach. Rumi's poetry, on the other hand, is highly regarded in the Persian-speaking world, and his works continue to be widely read and studied in the Islamic world, as well as in the Western world. Gibran's poetry is often seen as more contemplative, exploring the human condition and encouraging self-expression and freedom. While Rumi's poetry is often seen as more devotional, mystical and focused on the love between God and the individual soul. Khalil Gibran and Rumi are both poets of the soul, but they are like two sides of a coin, each with its own unique characteristics. Khalil Gibran is like a gentle breeze on a warm summer evening. His poetry is like a soothing balm for the weary soul. His words flow like a river, carrying the reader on a journey of self-discovery and self-expression. He believes that the path to enlightenment is through the beauty of nature and the natural world. His poetry is like a walk in the park, surrounded by the beauty of nature, where the mind can wander and the soul can be at peace. Rumi, on the other hand, is like a raging inferno. His poetry is like a spark that lights the fire of the soul. His words are like a whirlwind, whipping up a storm of emotion and passion. He believes that the path to enlightenment is through surrender and love, through opening oneself up to the divine. His poetry is like a dance, where the body and soul move in perfect harmony, reaching a state of union with the divine. Khalil Gibran's poetry is like a beautiful painting. Each word is a brushstroke, creating a masterpiece of human emotions and experiences. His poetry speaks to the heart, inspiring the reader to find their own path, to live in harmony with nature and to seek the inner light. Rumi's poetry is like a symphony. Each word is a note, creating a symphony of love and devotion. His poetry speaks to the soul, inspiring the reader to reach a state of union with the divine and to let go of their ego. Khalil Gibran and Rumi are poets of the soul. They offer different perspectives and experiences. Khalil Gibran's poetry is like a peaceful stroll in nature, where one can find inner peace and self-discovery. Rumi's poetry is like a wild dance, where one can let go and be swept away by divine love.